What's up, guys? Off with the room. It's just me right now. Right now, it's halftime during my favorite team's game, LSU. They are not doing very good right now. Like, not as good as they were last year. It's just like new players, new team. They'll probably start to get good at some point. But anyways, without further ado, let's get started. Starting off with the 0-0, I got Quinn Houff for Starcom Racing. He already has a contract extension, I'm pretty sure, so he stays there. Kurt Buschart is going to say it, number 1. Brad Keselowski stays at the number 2 for Rally Sim of the Year. Austin Dillon stays at the 3 for RCR. He's probably going to stay there for the rest of his career. Kevin Harvick stays at SHR, probably for the rest of his career. But then we get to something interesting. So there's rumors out. Well, there's been reports out there that Justin Marks is trying to start his own team. I think he will, and he'll take the number 5. And I think he'll drive it part-time in a select number of races. So yeah. And then Ryan Newman stays in the 6, probably his last year, until he retires. So for Roush. Number 7 got the same old people for TBR. Tommy Baldwin Racing. Plus Noah Gragson with some backing from JR and Hendrick. And Landon Castle are going to get back in heavily involved in the Cup Series, like jumping around rides, like kind of like how J.J. Yaley did this year. See, number 8, Tyler Reddick stays in there. He already signed a contract extension. Chase Elliott stays at number 9. Probably going to stay there for the rest of his career. Bowman probably going to keep the number 9 for the rest of his career. Might not be at Hendrick, though. Who knows, though. Now we're going to got Eric Almirola. He already signed an extension with SHR, so he's good. Denny Hamlin's Sony number 11 for JGR. He's okay there. Ryan Blaney stays in the 12 for Penske. He already has a contract extension for like 3 years or something. This is where things start to get interesting. First of all, no 13 because Jermaine's shutting down. But in number 14, I got Kyle Larson for SHR. Tony Stewart seems like he really wants to sign Larson, so I think he's going to get Bohr out the car, and I think Bohr's just got to retire and go in the Fox Sports booth, and I think Larson's the one who replaces him. So yeah. 15, I got Brendan Poole. There might be some doubts here, but because he got booted from his ride last week, but I think he's going to stay at premium for Rick Ware, at Rick Ware. Now I got an interesting thing right here. I say that Matt Collick is going to go full-time next year in Cup. Had the 16 car that Justin Haley drove in the Daytona 500 earlier this year. I think he goes full-time in that car. I don't know if Haley's ready yet, but I think he's going to do it anyway. Number 17, Chris Buescher stays. Number 18, Kyle Busch is going to stay there, probably for the rest of his career. As well as Truex, probably for the rest of his career. He's going to stay at the 19. That's funny. Now, 1 or 2 months ago, it was announced that
Christopher Bell
will be going to the 20, so put him in there, obviously. Now, number 21, this might surprise some of y'all, but I think DiBenedetto stays at Wood Brothers for at least 1 more year. I think they're going to give DiBenedetto a second chance. Because he seemed like he was pretty good at the beginning of the year until the pandemic came back. He started to not do as good. So yeah, that's that. Number 22, Logano stays at Joe Logano stays at Penske for a very long time. And then here's where another interesting thing comes up. Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin starting their own team. With Bubba Wallace going to be in the car. And I think they're going to go to 23. Because that's what Michael Jordan drove. I mean, not drove. Play. That's his famous number. So I think that's the number for them. William Byron stays at Hendrick. Probably for a pretty good amount of time. 27. Same old plus Landon Castle. For Rick Ware Racing. Like I said earlier. Castle's probably going to be, I think it's going to be involved in Cup again. Pretty heavily. So yeah. Here's another interesting thing comes up. So there's this thing called Beard Motorsports. They're their driver's Brendan Gaughan. He's retiring at the end of the year. He's only running like 5 races this year. I don't think they just leave or shut down because their driver left. I think they switched to number 29, and I think they do the Xfinity RCR drivers for their team, which include Mike Snyder, Anthony Alfredo, and Kaz Gralla, and possibly others too, like newcomers as well. And maybe Earl Bamber might be on the ride once or something, because he drove there for the rail course. So yeah. Alright, here's another one that's pretty interesting. Jermaine's shutting down, which means Ty Dillon has no ride to go to. He's got to find a ride. So I think his own grandfather is going to open up a ride for him. And I think it's being a number 31. I think he's going to drive that. I know he's going to be at RCR at some point. I think it's going to happen next year. So that's that. Number 32. LaJoie is not returning to Go Fast next year, which owns that car. I think it's going to be Chase Briscoe driving that car. It's Stewart-Haas line, and he's in Stewart-Haas and Xfinity, so he goes there. 34. Michael McDowell stays there. I think it's going to do even better with front row next year. I think they're going to become like a top 15, top 10 threat at some point. Now, here's another interesting one. Last year, do y'all remember the 36 car? Yes, I do. Matt Tiff drove until he had to leave for medical reasons, which is how John Nemechek got in the Cup, and then that's where he's driving now, in the 38. I think they're going to bring, and the 36ers ran once this year. That was with David Reagan, and that was his final career start, but that was Rick Ware owned. So, but it was the same font as a regular front row car. I think you're going to open that ride back up again. I think they'll put LaJoie in the ride. I think LaJoie is just going to have to go there. It's not the best ride that's available, but I think it's a pretty good ride. There's also a chance it could go to the 14. You never know that. You never know about that, because that's a Stewart-Haas SHR line. Because Go Fast is a SHR line, and he could just go there. And maybe move Boyer down to 32. But I don't think that's going to happen. 37. This might be a surprise to some people. I think Ryan Preece stays. I don't think he's ready yet, but I think he's probably going to have to give him one more year and then probably bump him down to Xfinity. 38, I think J.H. Nemechek stays, a.k.a. John Hunter Nemechek, for front row. I think he's going to keep on bringing front row to be a competitor. He almost won the Talladega earlier this year, so he definitely has potential. All right. 41 got Cole Custer staying. I think he already, I'm pretty sure that he's signing an extension, but not 100% sure. I think it's going to stay there. 42, it was already announced earlier this week that Ross Chastain would go into, so I'm going to put him there. He deserves a ride, like a great one, for Cup. 43, I got Daniel Suarez going to RPM. Suarez is in the leaving Gaunt Brothers next year. I think he deserves a 4-star ride. I think that's the ride he deserves. I think he's going to bring a decent amount of sponsorship with him, and Coca-Cola and I think Eris is still on him. I think they only ran one race this year, which was the throwback race, a.k.a. Darlington. The Southern 500 anyway. So I think he's going to go there. 47, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. stays. 48, I think Eric Jones goes there. I think pretty much at this point, Rick Hendrick's running out of options. So I think it's just going to have to go with Eric Jones. Okay, here's another pretty long shot. So Chad Fincham drives a 4.9 in Cup. He drove it for Daytona, tried to make the Daytona 500, did not make it. He's driving it again for Las Vegas, but he is going to be in the race. I think he's going to do more part-time rides in that same car next year. So I think he stays in the 49 for next year. Just more part-time, more rides, more races that's selected. Okay, so Rick Ware is just a mess. Okay, before we get to that, some people may think that the 50 is going to come for Floyd Mayweather Racing. I think they're going to wait until next gen comes out. So no Floyd Mayweather. Sorry, guys. But Anyways, Rick Ware is just a mess with their numbers. So I just grouped them all together. 51, 52, 53, and 54. I think the same old, plus Austin Cindric, who's probably going to, which definitely will get backing from Team Penske, and Landon Castle as well. For a select number of races. So yeah. 66, I still got Timmy Hill staying in there. Yeah, that's it. It's just, he's got to wait for a long time to get a good ride. He may not ever get a good ride. Okay, here's an interesting one. So Spire Motorsports. So Levine Family Racing shut down. They're going to shut down after this season. So, and they sold their charter to Spire, and they're still looking for a driver to sign. I think they pick up AJ Allmendinger, who's probably going to get some backing from Colleague, and I think he's going to take the 74. Why 74? Hear me out. Do any of y'all remember the Michigan doubleheader? Oh, come on. Of course y'all do. Reed Sorensen switched numbers from 77 to 74 for that doubleheader. I think that's the number that Spire's going to choose. So, yeah. I think Allmendinger goes in there full-time next year. He needs a cup ride. Anyways, 77's Stamel without minus Haley and Chastain. And plus Landon Castle. Yes, why am I putting Landon Castle? He gets him. He's probably going to get involved in Cup a lot more next year. 78, I think BJ McLeod goes full-time finally in Cup for his own team. BJ McLeod Motorsports. He started his own team, and they debuted at the Real Heroes 400. I think, yeah, it was 400, so I think he's going to go full-time in that. Or at least try to go full-time. We'll see how that goes. 88, Alex Bowman stays. He already signed an extension. Okay, here's an interesting one. The 96, Daniel Suarez is leaving there, of course, leaving there at the end of this year. I think the person to replace him will be Brandon Jones. Well, a couple weeks ago, I made a video on saying that Brandon Jones deserves a cup ride. I said that he might get the 43 because they're thinking about going to Toyota. No, that's not. I highly doubt that now. But I think it's going to take the 96 for next year and get some TRD backing and some Joe Gibbs backing. Brandon Jones has been having basically his own breakout season. Kind of. 3 wins this year, and he's been pretty consistent. I think Jones is going to score on that, and I think it's going to go to Cup next year. So, yeah. And I think it goes to Gaunt Brothers. Toyota team, he's with Toyota and Xfinity, so yeah. That's it. Thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe, and have a good day.